Hello and welcome to another episode of Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie and I'm joined with a very special guest, Sid, who's a massive United fan and also a massive supporter of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Sid, how's it going?
What was the last part, sorry?
Oh, no, I don't know. I'm just saying you're a massive Man United fan. I'm joking.
Okay.
Sid's not Ole in, he's Ole out most of the time anyway.
Ole out. Beginning of the season, it was Ole in, but now it's Ole firmly out.
So at the beginning, it was Ole in for you?
It was, because I thought with the squad that we have at our disposal,
yeah,
I thought there's no way Ole couldn't do well. I would go as far to say that you could give Steve Bruce that squad and he will perform. Yeah, that's the extent. We've got world-class players in most positions.
Yeah.
So it baffles me when I hear and see how badly we are doing.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's still quite early days, but my views have changed.
But speaking as a neutral, I agree to what you said, because you pretty much had let's forget about PSG for a second, but you more or less had the perfect transfer window. So you got a right winger in Sancho who you've been more or less chasing for the last couple of years. You got the legend back in Ronaldo. Some may say it's a panic buy. I thought it was a panic buy, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, he adds value to that team. And obviously his experience is vital for a squad that's quite young at this stage, especially when you've got players coming through like Rashford, you've got Greenwood. So it will only help their development going forward. And you got Varane. So you've got a partner. Well, I wouldn't say in the top class defender like Maguire. I'll let you be the judge of that. But you've got a solid top class defender in there. I know you guys wanted a centre mid where the type of player that was more of a sort of a destroyer type, but not every squad is perfect. Man City weren't able to get a striker. We didn't get a striker or a midfielder, so it's one of those things. But let me get your views on the season so far. So I would say from the outside, it's pretty much a mixed match in terms of highs and lows, in terms of you have some couple of good results and then you'll be down to reality, getting beaten by young boys, all of a sudden sort of thing. So let me know your views in terms of how would you rate the season so far? Like, I know you're not pretty much Ole in, but do you still have confidence in your manager?
Huh? That's gone. It's all over, my friend. It's all over. Let me be honest with you. I think that when you saw the first game against Leeds, that was that excitement because we beat Leeds quite convincingly. Free flowing, attacking football. But I think that was a bit of a false dawn because you got to remember, this is how Leeds. If you attack Leeds, more times out of you're gonna get a goal on an opportunity.
Yeah.
Because I just don't know Leeds to defend at all. Yeah. So we was jumping on the bandwagon like, oh my god, this is what we've been missing. But I thought, let me just chill, isn't it? Then we got what's his name, Ronaldo. He came. I think that was the third game in. That was 4-0.
Yeah.
Against Newcastle. And again, I was just like, okay, maybe. But I don't know if you watched any of those games. It wasn't perfect performances.
No.
We took opportunities. We didn't see a difference in our style of play, or you wouldn't say, oh, this is Man United of old.
Yeah.
It was a lot of I don't know, just trying your luck and then seeing what will come of it.
Yeah.
And again, that's fine, but you've got to realize we had 6 games to really lay down the gauntlet and put ourselves up there in the league table.
Yeah.
I think after 6 games, we was on 12 or 13 points, which is not bad.
Yeah.
But the games that we played, we should have been on minimum 16. Instead, now we're playing catch up because we lose to Leicester. We drew against, who was it? Everton. You know, and this is no disrespect to these teams, but with the squad at our disposal, we should be winning.
Yeah.
And then you bring in the Champions League, you lose to young boys. Who are young boys?
No idea.
No idea.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm saying. And what will be Ole's downfall? Yeah, forget his tactics. We know he's not a tactical manager. We know he's not inept to like deal with Klopps, the Guardiolas, the Tuchels, even Benitez now. These are all like tacticians.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with Ole, he will persist on his favourites. Yeah. You saw Maguire being rushed back against Leicester. And I said, because I was talking to one of my friends, I said, mark my words, he will cost us the goal. He will make a mistake. And I'll send you
more than one. He did a good couple goals that he was, involved in.
But why did you feel the need to rush him back is my question. And for me, like, as much as you don't have faith in Bailly, he's not injured. He could have played. He's done well with Lindelof. It's not a problem. I mean, it's a risk, but I would rather have Bailly, who's fit and able, as opposed to Maguire, who first isn't the most pacey defender anyway.
Far from it.
Do you see what I'm saying? And then you're bringing him back for his so-called leadership skills. What leadership skills? I don't know. Maybe this is just a modern era, but I don't see leaders like we used to see leaders years ago.
No, it's a different game now.
It's a different game, but
now are leading by example through their performances, or it's not the Roy Keane. So that's what you've been used to, like seeing growing up. The Roy Keane's, shouting and all that sort of stuff. Like we had Gerrard, who left by example, but we had Jamie Carragher, who's the talker of the team as well. So you do have those kind of characters, but it's a different game now. It's not quite as aggressive, or there's not heavy reliance on the captain, in my opinion.
I don't think it's. I agree with that to an extent, but there are players that you knew just had that authority.
Yeah.
They don't have to be swashbuckling and all of that yet, but I just can't see that in United's team. There's no leadership. But going back to the thing, his favourites are Maguire, obviously your boy Fred, then McTominay.
More like
McTominay. McTominay, and then he's got Greenwood, and obviously Ronaldo. Now the problem is that even if any of those players have a bad game, without fail, they will be in that starting lineup the next game. Now he's persistent on doing his whole 4-2-3-1, yeah, with the two McTominay and Fred. Show me where they're effective. Fred can hardly track back. He can hardly string a pass together. Yeah, McTominay, I feel sorry for him in a way, because I think he should be a bit more further up, as opposed to, sitting deep with Fred. I would say the more and more Solskjaer does this, the more and more we're going to struggle.
But
because
with McTominay, do you not think I've always seen him as a defensive-minded player. I've not really seen him someone who's box-to-box or attack-minded.
I think we place that on him, though.
Okay.
I think seeing him play, he has got the quality and he possesses those skills to be further up. I think if given a chance, he could be a box-to-box, if given a chance. But we won't know, isn't it? Because he will never be in that position because he is, Fred's right hand man, supposedly, where they work well together. But it might sound a bit strange, but I'd rather have Matic in that team. So Matic only plays in the Prem. Fred plays in the Champions League and the FA Cup. Because
But
I
has
know
Matic
with
got the
Matic,
legs? Has he got the legs? Because he's obviously aging right now. I don't think he can play consecutive games week in, week out.
I think he could. I mean, he's not going to play 90 minutes,
Mm.
but I would rather start with Matic as opposed to Fred. And that's not to sound harsh, but Fred offers nothing to that team.
Yeah.
I was watching a game yesterday in the Champions League, and I think Mr. Wenger came out and said, "Oh, I'd like to highlight Fred's second half. He blocked a few crosses, and he played really well. He did well." And I was just like, "What? He blocked a few crosses. Like, what was he meant to do? Duck? Like,
Yeah.
of course you're meant to do that. If you're there, that's what you're meant to do."
Yeah.
But I think if you was to assess the season from beginning to now, and we was to grade it, I would say it's a D grade.
Mm. So far, it's a D. I'll be honest with you. I think one of the first points you made about Ole not being a tactician, for me, that's a red flag straight away. You can't be the manager of a top club. And
Together.
Mhm.
Sorry, say that again.
I think you cut off there for a second. I was just saying that one of the points that you made earlier on regarding Ole was that he wasn't a tactician. For me, that's a red flag itself, because if you're managing a big club like Manchester United, you can't be there without being a tactician. It doesn't work like that. You can't rely on your legendary status to be a manager of such a big club. And for me, he's mismanaged a lot of players in your team. So you mentioned the opening game against Leeds United. Pogba got 4 assists in that game, playing as an attacking mid, like further up, which in this sort of system that you guys play suits his capabilities. And then as soon as Ronaldo was brought, it kind of hindered his performance because he was dropped to a deeper position, and in the following game he was played on the left. So at the minute, I feel like you've got too many players for the sake of just having names, and you don't really have a system for the right players at the right time. So Sancho's brought in, but he's hardly featured. Rashford's just come back from injury, so obviously he will have more of a vocal point in terms of playing in the next games. And you got Ronaldo, who, amazing player, don't get me wrong, but you can't rely on him every game to save you. I know he scored a winner the other day, but it's like, I think the team are over reliant on him just getting the goals. It needs to be sort of spread out across. So obviously you've got Bruno there, but for me, Bruno hasn't really done much this season. You've got Greenwood, who I rate really highly, but has to play a slightly off position where he's playing on the right wing. I feel like he's a natural striker and should be playing more in the central. So yeah, I've said this to you for a long time. I don't think that your recruitment hasn't been the best. That's me brutally being honest as well. But you can't compare in terms of your recent recruitment. You've signed some top players, so he's the weak link. If you had a different manager, let's say for argument's sake you had Conte, it'd be a different ball game. You guys would be competing for all titles right now and would be looking strong as well. So I know a lot of these players like Fred, they're not anyone's cup of tea, but they're probably there for a reason to do an effective job. They're not the so-called like flashy names or anything like that. So, but for me, it's the manager. He's mismanaged quite a few players. Van der
Mhm.
Beek, poor guy, sits on the bench, throwing his, rattle here and there. He's getting annoyed because he doesn't get any time on the field. And I feel like there's been so many games where you need a bit of a spark or a bit of creativity, and it never happened. And he could have actually brought that onto the field. So, yeah, I know I joked around saying that you were Ole in, but yeah, I, for me, I'm definitely Ole in. Long may he stay at the club, because he's not hurting any of the rivals. We're happy that he's managing the club at the stage, and obviously been on a long contract as well. I know a lot of people. There's been a lot of pressure, or from the fans and even some media outlets saying that Conte might be in line. I was reading a rumor earlier on today that Newcastle wanted to recruit a manager like Conte, but he's kind of holding off for a job like a Manchester United. So we'll see how that goes on, I guess. But back to this big fixture we've got coming up this Sunday, Manchester United versus Liverpool. I'll be honest with you, probably growing up, this fixture was more exciting for me and you, where we actually saw games with a lot of goals, a lot of like fiery encounters. Like, tell me how you feel. I don't look forward to the fixture as much as I used to. Like, it's obviously in terms of friendly rivalry. Obviously, you're a close friend of mine, so Manchester United, Liverpool, we've got that rivalry there. And I've got a lot of friends that are Manchester United supporters, so that's the sort of banter you have there. But the fixture itself, if you're a neutral watching this game, the last couple of years, it's been a boring fixture. And I'll be honest with you, I think it's down to Ole's tactics as well. I know he's not a tactician, but in this game, he kind of becomes a tactician all of a sudden, where he pretty much parks the bus. And obviously, this being at Old Trafford as well, I don't see it being any other different. In terms of your team setup, how do you, without naming names, how do you feel like the team will play? Are you expecting the team to be on the front foot, or would it pretty much be where the team is playing on the counter attack?
I don't see anything changing to what we've done the last 8-9 games. Like, if I'm honest, it will be the same 4-2-3-1.
Is that the formation you would like him to play? Is that something you feel like suits the players you have? Because I know everyone has this sort of like favorite formations, but you do have to tailor in terms of what players you have in your squad. Do you think that is the right system for Manchester United?
I think what we have in the squad, yeah. I feel like whilst we have the players there, we have to be honest with ourselves as well. We're not going to get anything different because Ole's there. So if I'm being realistic, it has to be 4-2-3-1 because he's not good enough to make a change. Do you see some managers will look at the game that they're coming up against and then say, okay, we need to change this slightly because this team will hit me on the counter, or they sit deep. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ole doesn't think like that. You could play Barcelona and then you can play West Brom. He'll still do 4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
So on that basis, and who he trusts and will pick, it's evident. It's always going to be McTominay and Fred.
Mm-hmm.
Now Rashford's in the equation. I would actually put Rashford on the left. Sancho, who you also identified as a right winger, on the right. I don't know why he's doing this left-hand nonsense for Sancho because it's pointless. And then obviously Bruno, and then I would rotate with Cavani and Ronaldo. I think Cavani offers us more.
Yeah.
In terms of movement, is also a clinical finisher as well. But look, I mean, you're right. It is a snooze fest. It is. You watch that game now, and it's just like, it's not going to be exciting. And that is on Man United because of how we're set up. They will play very differently. Watch on Sunday. Look how you'll watch it and you just see how boring it is.
Yeah.
You'd think Mourinho is still there.
I think it's worse than Mourinho, to be fair, because Mourinho will still try to get the win, but I feel like Ole, he's happy with the point. He doesn't really go for the kill in these sort of games. But I don't know. I think with regards to Liverpool, because we've been in such great form recently, I'm a bit more optimistic in terms of that we'll get the win. I feel like we will score some goals. I don't see Manchester United troubling us that much. I think Salah is going to be key in terms of how he plays. As a United fan, let me know what you think about Salah in terms of his form this season.
I think Salah, you have to put him down as the world's best at the moment.
Yeah, hands down.
You just know he's going to score that goal even in Champions League. It's not even anything like wow anymore.
No, yeah.
It's just standard. Does that make sense? What Messi was doing 4 or 5 years ago is what Salah's doing now.
Yeah.
Those goals in taking defender on, you know, in on that foot, coming out, and it's just like, then he shoots. Okay.
And they
Did that
can't
last
stop
week.
it as well. That's the thing. The defenders, they
No.
probably know that that's what he's going to go for. That's the angles he's going to take. But he's in such great form. I feel like anything he touches just turns to gold. And it's pretty similar to how it was when he first joined Liverpool, where literally he was just going goals left, right, and centre. And I feel like this is a game where I think in terms of his record, he hasn't scored many against Manchester United at Old Trafford. But I feel like he's in such fire form that, I don't know, I feel like he's pretty much unstoppable at this stage. So you mentioned your team there. So in terms of the Liverpool setup, I think we're not going to change that much in regards to our last game. So there was news today that Thiago won't be available. I'm not sure he'll be available for at least the next month. Don't know when
Is he ever available?
Yeah, he's not. And then Curtis was unfortunately injured during international duty for under 21s. So he's pretty much ready to play in this game, but I wouldn't quite start him, even though I'm a big fan of his. So I think in terms of the team, Alisson will be back in the team. Last week he didn't start due to being on international duty, and it was just too soon for him to start the game. You've got Robertson, who's pretty much shooing to start, Trent Alexander-Arnold as well, and then Van Dijk and Matip. So for me, the back four is pretty much solid. It's been a consecutive back four as well, which is always good in terms of keeping stability in your team. And then the midfield, I've gone for Fabinho, Henderson, and I've gone for Milner. So kind of playing more of a robust and compact type of midfield where we're not giving too much away. But at the same time, Henderson will probably be the guy who will be the creator, where I feel like if there's any counter-attack opportunities, he'll be the one threading the ball or making a run out of position to kind of assist any of the front players, who I would probably go with the normal trio of Mane, Salah, and Firmino. I know a lot of people would probably favour Jota to start this game. Me personally, I do rate him as a player, but I feel like he's better coming from a bench. I feel like he makes more of an impact, and plus he's just returned from injury as well. So that would be my lineup going into the team. Score predictions. What are we saying, Sid?
Honestly,
Yeah.
4-2 to Liverpool.
Oh shit!
No.
Fair play. I thought I was going for a bold scoreline. I'm going for 3-1 to Liverpool.
It's more or less the same thing. I mean,
Less, yeah.
let's just be brutally honest. Like, why?
Yeah. I don't think we'll concede 2. That's why I've gone for 3-1. I think we'll probably concede 1. I can see you guys scoring first, to be honest with you. Like,
I was just about to say, we'll score first, and then you'll be like, no, forget this. Like, we're not letting show us up. But the thing is that I think we can score 2 goals, but our defense is just shocking, man. Like, it's just mistake after mistake, or there's no certainty like in that back line. So yeah, I mean,
who do you think will start in the back four?
Well, it's obviously going to be Maguire and Lindelof, isn't it? And then Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw. I mean, the wing backs, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he's been doing okay. You know, I would have liked to have got Trippier in that he would have pushed Bissaka a bit more. Like, Dallow's good, but he's settled on that backup role. So he's not like vying or pushing Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
I think Wan-Bissaka is one of Ole's favourites as well, you know. I think Dallo, if you see how he performed for Milan, different type of player. So he'll definitely add a different dimension to your team. But I feel like, I don't know, maybe Ole prefers, because obviously this is how I look at it. I know a lot of United fans say, you know, he's the best defensive fullback. But that's not the game of today. We don't really play with defensive fullbacks. So the fullbacks that we play with today, not even just Liverpool, I'm talking about other teams as well, is more attack-minded. They're the creators of the team nowadays. So I feel like Ole probably has that sort of mentality when he was a player where, like a Gary Neville, he would be that defensive right back. So for him, he's probably got that same kind of setup in his head. And you've got Luke Shaw on the other side, who's a solid defender, but he's also able to put in crosses into the box as well. So, and now you've got Ronaldo in the team, who's an aerial threat, and he's probably one of the best in the world, in my opinion, regarding headers. So you've definitely got the right assets. I feel like if you had a bit more of attacking minded sort of fullback. Different fortunes there, but that's interesting to be fair in terms of Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
Does Ronaldo start for you in this game? Or would you go for Cavani? I think you mentioned Cavani being a prolific scorer, so you might go on his side a bit more.
Look, but again, there's no point me saying what I think this team should be because we know what it's going to end up being.
Yeah.
Like Cavani, I would start Cavani over Ronaldo because I think he actually has got good movement and he'll track back. He will go and retrieve the ball as opposed to Ronaldo just staying up top.
Yeah.
You know, I would go as far as saying drop Greenwood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but if we're being honest, like I'd rather start Sancho over Greenwood. Rashford, the way he's carrying on, he has to start.
Yeah, 100%. Looks good.
So for me, like you said, Greenwood is a striker. Like this, what he's doing now is fine, but it's not sustainable because you will see that during the course of the season, what he will do, he will get the ball. His first instincts is to shoot.
Yeah.
He's not looking to find players. He's looking to do from outside of the box like he did last week.
Yeah.
You know, and that's fine if he scores and pulls it off. But if he does that continuously, the people up top are just going to be like, hello, pass me the ball, or pass me the ball, you know?
Yeah. It's got a comment from Cameron. Hi, Cameron. Thanks for tuning in. No, I get your point, to be fair. It'll be interesting in terms of how the game pans out. I think in terms of the track record for the last few years, it's normally, like you said, it's a bit of a snooze fest, but I'm hoping it has goals. I'm hoping it's not like a 0-0 or just a 1-1. That's not the sort of game that we'd want to see. But before we conclude the show, we can kind of do our sort of review of the other games that have been playing this weekend. So I'll just share a graphic with you guys, and then we can give our predictions for the games coming up. So there we go. So here we have some fixtures. So let's start with the first one, Arsenal and Aston Villa. So Arsenal have been in great form recently, notching up some wins. But at the same time, so have Aston Villa. They've been quite difficult to beat. So how do you see this result panning out?
I actually feel like you said, Arsenal aren't doing that bad. It's just that they started really badly.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal will win this one 3-1.
Good shout. Okay.
What about you?
I'm going for a draw. I think it will end 1-1. Okay. I think Villa have been showing some promising form recently. I feel like I know Arsenal fans might take this the wrong way, but I feel like at this stage they're kind of evenly matched in terms of quality. So I think it will be a tough game for Arsenal to win. But they just came from a last-minute winner the other day against Crystal Palace, so their confidence might be a bit more encouraging. But I feel like this will be another draw for Arsenal there. Next fixture: Chelsea versus Norwich. This has got a wipeout for me written all over it. If I'm honest with you, I know they have no Lukaku or Werner, which is actually a concern if you think about it, because who would play up front? Chelsea.
Actually, who would they play?
There's no Tammy Abraham, so
because he's gone now, isn't it? Yeah.
So I'm not actually sure who would start. I think Havertz would probably play like a false nine sort of role.
I was going to say, do they have any exciting kids or anything? No.
Not that I've seen this season so far, but they might have some potential youngsters because they've got great academy. So you never know; they might unleash one of their young prospects there. But I think they'll probably go with Havertz as sort of like a false nine. He has done that in the past as well. So it's a bit of a chicken. What do you think of this game? How would this pan out?
Like you said, I can only see a Chelsea victory, so I think it would be 3-0.
Yeah, I'm going with the same scoreline. I know they don't have a striker, but they've got so much quality in midfield. I think they'll trouble and cause all kinds of havoc against the Norwich defense there. Crystal Palace and Newcastle. So I don't know if you've heard, Sid, just before we went live, Newcastle made an approach to recruit Paulo Fonseca as their manager. So he's the former Roma manager. So I believe Tottenham were trying to recruit him over the summer, but they weren't able to agree to a deal, as I believe they were trying to get a specific sporting director to work alongside him, and it just didn't pan out. So, what do you think? Obviously, this is just rumors right now, but in terms of the talking topic for today, is that the right type of manager that Newcastle should be trying to get?
I think it doesn't match their ambition, and this is no disrespect to that manager, but I feel like they need to go for a bit more ambitious individual and proven, if that makes sense. Because for me, they've got a blank checkbook, isn't it? So they could literally recruit anyone. And no disrespect to this guy, but no one's going to be like, yes, I'm going to play for Newcastle, have a great manager. Like, no, like Brendan Rodgers would be a good appointment, just someone like that. Or what, Steven Gerrard. Even though he's been in Rangers, I see a lot more potential with him than this guy. So to answer your question, no, I don't think that would be a good appointment, but it's better than Steve Bruce, isn't it?
Well, give me thoughts on Steve Bruce, because I feel like I know Newcastle fans will have different views. I don't think he's that bad of a manager the way they made it seem like. I think he probably just didn't connect with the fans, even though I believe he's a Newcastle fan. But I think obviously his alliance where he was manager of Sunderland might have a sort of a bad taste in some of the fans' mouth, or I don't know, they just didn't warm to him. But if you look at the record, it's pretty much identical to Rafa Benitez. In fact, it's actually a little bit better in terms of wins and goals. So, a bit of a shame in terms of his statement that came out where he feel like his mental health is being in question right now, and it's affected him quite a lot, and he might potentially retire. So, a manager that's been in the game for, I believe, 40 years as a player and manager. He's managed over 1,000 games. That's not the right way to treat anyone, to be fair, let alone a person that's been such great player for Manchester United. There's a centre back who scored a lot of goals, but even during his managerial career, I remember, I think one of his probably best times was at Birmingham City when he was manager there, where he brought a lot of good players there. So, what are your thoughts in terms of Steve Bruce? I think the writing was on the wall in terms of him leaving, but do you think it could have been handled a little bit better?
But by who though? In terms of handled a little bit better, because
I think from the owners, I wouldn't have got rid of him right now if I'm being brutally honest. I think to appoint a manager who's not familiar with the Premier League right now is suicidal, because he's got no Premier League experience. You have to remember they're 19th right now. They're towards the bottom of the league. So I know we're in October, but you know how the fixtures are going to come thick and fast right now. If they're not climbing up the table by January, listen, I know they've got a blank checkbook and they could, on paper sign whoever they want, but they won't be able to recruit top quality player this January unless it's someone been given a ridiculous salary or pay package whatsoever. So I think it's a big mistake. I personally would have kept him on for a bit longer.
Just to the end of the season, at least.
Possibly. I think do you know what? I would have given him until Jan. And if things don't improve, then you kind of bring someone in who can sort of make an impact by recruiting a few players in the January transfer window. But I don't know. I don't think it's the right type of appointment. I think they should have gone with someone who's got Premiership experience. Like, obviously, the top one would be Conte. Do whatever you can to get Conte, because if you give that guy the sort of power that he wants when he's at a club where he's in charge of recruitment, or he has a bit more of an influence in the backroom staff area, then he's that guy for you. But I know there are names like Frank Lampard. You probably know my thoughts about Frank Lampard. I'm not a big fan of his. And not because of that spat he had with Klopp. I just feel like he was overrated. I don't feel like he I feel like he has the potential, but I feel like because of his legendary status, similar to Ole, that's why he was given that role. And I feel like it's similar paths to Ole. Ole has the squad players, but then when you appoint a top quality manager, the fortunes change. So
Mm,
Tuchel came in and look, he's just done wonders since he's been there with the same crop of players. So I don't know. It's exciting time for fans at Newcastle,
mm,
but I wouldn't be too overjoyed with this appointment. And that's no disrespect to the manager. I just feel like if you're going to get someone from outside of the Premier League, it has to be like a bona fide winner where you know who he is. And it's a big statement that, oh, all right, they mean business because they've got one of the best managers in world football. But for me, that's not the case. But back to this game, Crystal Palace and Newcastle. What are your thoughts on this?
I actually think this is a Crystal Palace win.
Mm,
Only because of the uncertainty in the Newcastle camp.
yeah,
There's no manager. Um, it, yeah, I would go as far as saying probably like 2-0 to Crystal Palace
yeah.
or 2-1.
Snap. I've been very impressed with Crystal Palace. I've liked the sort of the style of football that they've been
Mm,
playing. A lot of young players coming through, and
yeah,
Eze hasn't been able to play this season so far. But Edouard for me was a great signing.
yeah,
I, he's been
yeah,
he's been a prolific striker for a good few years at Celtic, so I think they signed him at the right time. They've got Elise is a young player. For me, looks a good talent as well. Still got Zaha. Gallagher on loan from Chelsea. He looks a good player as well. Did really well last
yeah.
season for West Brom. So for me, they look a bit more attacking. I think they've got more young players now, so they're not playing cautious football. They're actually able to play a bit more attractive football than they have been over the last few years. So I co-sign that. I think it will be 2-0. That would be my prediction as well.
Mm, mm.
Now, this game, for me, this game's got goals written in it because they're not the best defensively, and they both of these teams like to attack. So Leeds United versus Wolves. What do you think?
I actually think it'll be a score draw, like 2-2.
Okay.
And like you said, they will close each other out.
Yeah.
Like I can see it where one of them is winning until like the 88th minute and someone scores the equalize just at the death.
Yeah.
Like it's that type of game, like the way these two are, and I
Yeah.
think you saw that recently. Was it the Wolves came? I think they came back.
Yeah, they
I
did
can't,
last week.
yeah,
Neves
yeah,
got the winner.
yeah, exactly.
Mm,
Exactly. In the 90 something minute. I can't remember
yeah,
specifics, but this is how they are. And
yeah.
it might be the same for you, but I think it's definitely going to be a score draw. So I'll say 2-2.
I'm going for 3-3. I think it's going to be a lot more goals. I just feel like it's just got that kind of game written all over it where
Yeah.
lots of goals. You've got Jimenez back into form, so I think he'll score. Definitely, he'll be on the score sheet, and they've got a couple of good players as well. So yeah, I think that'll be maybe an exciting game for the neutrals there. Everton and Watford. So Everton, I have to be honest, are the informed team. One of the most informed teams right now in the Premier League, where Benitez wasn't anyone's favorite appointment, but he's doing the job. He's bought players. Well, he brought in Townsend on a free.
Mm.
Demarai Gray, who's always had the potential, but he's actually showing it now, being able to express himself in the team. How do you see this game panning out? I know Watford just recruited the new manager in Ranieri last week, but got battered by obviously Liverpool last week 5-0. I think. What do you think is more favourable for Everton win?
Yeah. This is a game where Everton should win,
Mhm.
but something in my head is telling me that this is where Watford produce a shock because these things always happen. Like the
Yeah.
informed team, but Ranieri, he's no slouch. Like he's not prolific, but he's a good manager, and I
Oh,
think he might do something like to cause a surprise. So I, I'm going to go Watford. This one a bit contentious, but I'll say
okay.
Watford. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going for Everton win. I think it'll be 2-1 scoreline. So that's it. I think they are one of those kind of results. I feel like we'll probably go through and we'll probably not align in terms of our thinking because Yeah, I feel like the Premier League is so unpredictable at times. You just never know. So the next fixture, Southampton and Burnley.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this one?
Burnley just don't. I don't rate Burnley. Like,
I think me,
I,
and you-
I,
me too. I don't rate them at all, man. Don't rate
it's
them at
just
all.
you could go a whole season without watching Burnley. You won't miss a thing.
No.
Like, there's nothing to talk about. There's no standout players, and it's just they
Yeah.
just plod along.
Yeah.
So to answer that, I'm going Southampton to win, and I'll say 1-0.
Yeah, I was thinking that's one as well. I've been impressed with Southampton's play, especially their new signing, Livramento. I feel like
Yeah, yeah,
he's giving them a different dimension on that right hand side. Last game, I believe he played more advanced as a right midfielder, so that allowed Kyle Walker-Peters to play in right back. So a good player who will cover two positions there. Very fast in terms of his attacks, great dribbling ability, but also a good all-round player. So. And I think Armstrong, for me, hasn't scored that many goals, but he looks a good talent as well at the same time. So I think it's only a matter of time until he gets some goals. I'll go for 2-0. I think Southampton will win this one. Even though me and you aren't Burnley fans, so it's probably against our agenda there, but it is what it is, I guess.
yeah.
The next match, Brighton and Man City.
It's not an easy game, that's for sure, because Brighton have been playing really well.
And they're very good at home. They're very good defensively at home.
Yeah, and this is why, like, I think I would have been like, yeah, 3-1 or 3-0 to Man City, but Brighton could cause them problems because Man
Yeah.
City, whilst they've got the attacking prowess and all of that, they have been looking a bit suspect. It's not like straightforward victories.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. I would actually say a score draw as well. So I might do 2-2 on this one.
Okay. I feel like we're quite
I might.
aligned there. So obviously we're best mates. Obviously we're gonna have some kind of things in common here. But I'm going for a draw as well. I'll be very surprised if Man City go in and thrash Brighton because they've been so good defensively. Their goalkeeper has been Sanchez. He's been in fantastic form for them this season. Has made some spectacular saves. So I would go for a 1-1. It's a draw, but I'd go for 1-1. I know Man City have shown good form. I know they were really good in the Champions League against Club Brugge. Phil Foden in particular was fantastic during that game. So
Yeah.
it's up in the air, but I feel like it'll be a draw. Brighton are a difficult team to play against, so we'll see. So we've got a London derby here, West Ham and Tottenham. That's a good game. That's going to be a good game.
A good game, but I see West Ham taking this one.
Yeah.
Tottenham's too inconsistent for me.
Same. I agree.
And I just think West Ham have really turned up since last year.
Yeah, I've been so impressed with West Ham. I've been so impressed
Yeah.
with them, especially like Antonio. For me, he's just going strength to strength in terms of how he's playing. Ben Rama, who I watched playing for Brentford a couple of years ago, has really shown his form this season. I think last year, obviously due to it being a bit of a bizarre season with COVID and everything, so he wasn't probably able to settle in as normally as you would do before this whole global pandemic craziness we've been going through. But he's been in great form. And even players like Susek, for me, he's just been really good, really solid player, gets vital goals. And defensively as well, Ogbonna scored the winner last week. Cresswell, the left back, he's really good in terms of providing assists, great crossing ability, and a good set piece taker as well. So I'm going for West Ham as well.
Yeah.
I think you're spot on in terms of Tottenham. I know they won 3-2 the other day, but they just don't. I don't know. I feel like Nuno's still trying to figure out who his best players are and what's not even that. What's his best system? Because he's chopping and changing a bit too many times, and I don't feel like he knows what he's doing at this stage. So I'm going for 2-0 to West Ham.
That's a good shout, man. Because I think on paper that's the best result. Like
Yeah.
West Ham just have too much for Everton. Sorry, Tottenham. Sorry, not Everton.
Yeah.
For Tottenham.
Yeah. No, I agree. So on to the next game, Brentford versus Leicester City. So obviously Leicester City into form, beating Manchester United 4-2 last week. So I had to mention it against it. Brentford, who I thought were quite unlucky to lose last week against Chelsea, but I feel like they really showed a good performance, and they have been very difficult to beat at home. Liverpool found out as we were able to not get a win. But what do you make of this fixture?
Again, Leicester, we shouldn't really get excited because they beat United, and I think that we gave them that win, if that makes sense. Because Leicester actually haven't been sensational. It's just that they were fortunate enough to play a very poor United side. But back to your question, I think Leicester will still probably win. I would say again probably like a 2-1 with their new strike. Is it Daka to probably score one goal? Yeah, I think he'll score. What about you?
I'm going for. So this is my shock of the week. I'm going for a Brentford win. I think Brentford will win 2-1. And I believe I've been very impressed with their player. Is it Mbuemo, who's one of their forwards, and Ivan Toney. I've liked Ivan Toney from his championship days with Brentford. But I've been more impressed with him this season because he's doing it at a higher level. So I think the goals aren't quite as high in terms of the rate that he was scoring last season, but I've just been impressed with his all-round game. I feel like his link-up play is fantastic, and I think he will score more goals as the season goes on, and I think he'll be on the score sheet for this one. So 2-1 to Leicester City there. We pretty much covered it throughout the whole episode, but just to confirm for everyone, score predictions for Manchester United versus Liverpool.
Oh, Man United 2, Liverpool 4.
Okay, I'm going for 3 Liverpool, so I'm glad we're aligned on that one, to be honest with you. But
it can't be anything else. If we're being honest, it can't. You're foolish to think United will get something from that.
Well, if United win, I'm sure you'll be begging to make an appearance next episode. So
it will still be Ole out, but yeah, I'll be very, very happy and surprised.
Well, that's fair enough. But yeah, that wraps us for today. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. I will be doing the next episode next Tuesday, 26th of October at 10 p.m. So I'll be covering Match Week 9 and all the best games during that weekend, as well as FPL updates and my team of the week, which I've been getting a bit of abuse about because of my dodgy formation in my social media posts. But that's another conversation there for another time. But Sid, thank you so much for coming onto the show. Obviously, big sort of friend to our podcast here. So thank you very much for coming on. And yeah, good luck. Not too much for this week, but good luck for the rest of the season. But yeah, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you.
No, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. So thank you guys, and we'll see you very soon. Take care.